you can pick the primary school versus high school teachers because the primary school teachers still have energy and hope. So, so they're the ones that come pretty pumped.
You're listening to Around the School Table, hosted by me, Steve Davis, and proudly powered by Zuno Suite. We'll be bringing together the many voices shaping primary and secondary education across Australia, from principals and teachers to education thought leaders and system innovators. Whether you're in the classroom, the staff room, or the boardroom, this is your podcast to be informed, inspired, and connected. Today on Around the School Table, we're joined by Daniel Delby, founder and action learning coach who's bringing laughter into the classroom by teaching teachers how to use humour as a powerful classroom management tool. Now, Daniel, alongside fellow comedian Ben Knight, has created a unique space where educators can laugh, learn and recharge, proving humour isn't just a nice to have, it's essential for staying in the profession. From open mic nights to major comedy festivals, Daniel shares how comedy's transformed his approach to teaching and leadership and why every teacher needs a little laughter in their toolkit. And if you believe in the power of joy to reshape education, I think this episode's going to be one for you. And just a heads up that the topics covered in this chat will dive into sex education, so perhaps not one to play out loud in the office or the classroom. Daniel Delby, thanks for joining me around the school table.
Welcome. It's nice to be mentioned in the same breath as Ben Knight. He's far more successful than me. So,
well, that's what we bring people together here, Daniel. That's what we do.
Nice.
Now, you started as a teacher and became an action learning coach. What drew you to teaching in the first place?
Okay. So the thing with my path is that I found in schools when I was it was called TE back then in Perth. Now it's ATAR. They expect you to what you want to know, like what you want to do for the rest of your life when you're 15, because the decisions you make at 15 to influence what you can take in year 11 and 12, which is crazy because when you're 15, you don't know. The hardest decision you've got is whether you're going to dab or floss. So I really loved drama, but it was the same pathway as chemistry. So I did a little bit of research, and chemistry was a prerequisite for more things than drama. So I just did what was going to open as many doors as possible. And at my comedy show, I'm like, I'm from a dodgy area, so I took chemistry to make money, but the on the weekends. But the whole thing with that was I sort of had no idea what I wanted to do. So I got a decent score and I went into business commerce, and I found pretty quickly that was not enjoyable. I was falling asleep in class. I had a sup exam I didn't even know. They called me when I was in bed. So I was like, right, I got to change course here.
Yeah.
And my mum worked for a chiropractor from when I was younger. And I was like, well, maybe I'll do that. So I did biomedical science. And after a while, I was like, nah, this is not enjoyable. So I would go to bed at night with this feeling in my stomach that I should just be doing what I love. And I love phys ed and I love drama. So I decided I would try and do drama and phys ed teaching. And I didn't realize what I love was being ignored by teenagers and devalued by society. So I got into it that way. And I started with drama. And I loved it. Like I say this on stage. It's not a bit. It's just the truth. I really loved it because for the first year, you don't have to teach anything. So I'm just playing games. I got a class full of girls. It was the dream until I did my first prac as a drama teacher. And I was like, man, I can't see myself spending the rest of my life telling kids to get out of the curtains. So I switched to phys ed and got into it that way. And, I really loved sport. I loved phys ed. And most importantly, I loved the banter and the funniness of teenagers. It's like, especially as a male teacher, if I say I love kids, it's got this weird stigma to it. But I loved hanging out and banter, and at the same time, you're making a huge difference to these kids' lives. And I got into it that way for my teaching.
Personally, I'm a bit sad that you left teaching drama because I did drama in year 12 in South Australia. The first year it was ever offered as a matriculation subject.
Yeah, right.
And it was me and 17 girls in the class. And I did not miss a class.
You had the best attendance of the whole school.
I did. And
Even when you're sick, you're just crawling in. I'm all right. Let's learn some Stanislavski.
volunteered to do anything. Yeah, no, it was great. But and it actually, I love your the way your radar is tuned, because I think you're on the money. That is, those two particular disciplines you're talking about, it opens so much inside the student for the world. Other subjects do too, but I think those two, there's just something mercurial about them.
Yeah. So, well, the caveat on that is, I did get my phys ed degree, my major, and drama as my minor in the end, but I ended up getting permanency teaching science. So,
Chemistry
yeah,
came back.
exactly. It actually did. Yeah. So that was a huge part of I loved science because I did 3 years of relief, just literally so I could never have, I was a bit afraid of being tied down, having a commitment. And obviously I've been diagnosed with ADHD before it was cool. So when I was like 24, now everyone's got it, but I loved the having something different every day. On the flip side, it made me have the worst kids every day because the teachers were off because I couldn't handle it. And I was taught in a dodgy area, so I was getting the worst kids every day, but it was the most fun and the most challenging for me, and it led me into science teaching, and I ended up doing essentially special needs learning support for 8 out of my 10 years. So yeah, it's
Wow.
awesome.
Now, what was it that led you to transition to now teaching the teachers, if you like? And am I right, classroom management strategies, or CMS, has a hand to play in this?
Yeah, so when I was teaching, so teacher comedy night is more my avenue to just get teachers to come and network and share their story. It's essentially a comedy show, but the side effect of that is teachers are finding out that they're not alone. They hear other stories, or they hear me share my thoughts. And I should caveat that with, a lot of public school teachers realize private school teachers can't believe some of the shit that gets shared at our show. So yeah, I got into action learning coaching through CMS. So I started as a really ineffective, very ineffective teacher. All of my skills I'd learnt were my phys ed and drama skills. So a lot of it was really good placement, where you deliver your instruction from, making sure you can see everybody. But the next part of that was getting the kids to actually switch on and behave. So I was not very effective to start with until my principal, he goes, so sorry, it was my head of learning area first. He said, "What are you doing with the year 10s?" Because I was like, "Oh, they're they're no good. They don't listen." He goes, "What are you doing?" And I showed him. He goes, would you want to do that?" I was like, "No, this sucks." So he's like, "Well, there's your first problem." That was my light bulb moment. It wasn't them. It was me. And a lot of teachers, I think, will not. There's too much pride or too much ego to go, "Well, actually, you know what? I'm not doing the right thing by them. It's them. They don't want to learn. They don't know." I'll tell you what, right now, every kid loves feeling smart, no matter how cool or how badly behaved. If they feel smart leaving your school, leaving your class, they're going to be like, "Oh, Mr. D, man, he's cool because he makes me feel good about myself." So I sort of had this little journey, and I took CMS, which is classroom management strategies, ran by my Holer at the time. So he was the biggest influence on me. And that's just little things like bumps and informal contracts and all these just awesome tools to help. And a lot of it just comes down to, is the work challenging? Is it enjoyable? Are you making connections? Are you winning them over? But yeah, the CMS was awesome until I shared that at teacher comedy night. I said, I said on stage, it was a bit of a serious bit of the show. I go, CMS has changed my life. And then I went on to sort of explain that very briefly because it was a comedy show. I didn't get in too much detail. And this lady came up after the show and she goes, "Excuse me, what do you mean by CMS? What does CMS mean to you?" I said, "Classroom management strategies." She goes, "Oh, thank God." I go, "Why? What does it mean to you?" And she goes, "Well, I have a student with CMS." I said, "Yeah." I go, "What is it?" She said, "Chronic masturbation syndrome."
Oh
So
my God.
when you said it changed your life, I thought that you'd been diagnosed with it, and having the diagnosis has helped you become a more effective teacher. So that was like, oh, it's funny. Like adults, the way we communicate, if we're using the wrong abbreviations or the wrong acronyms in different states, they mean different things. So
Can I just say for the record, I've never been diagnosed with that. Thank you.
yeah, it's an undiagnosed one.
So now you're, similar in a way to Ben Knight. You're both comedians. You're targeting teachers in particular.
Yeah.
What do you think makes teachers interested in comedy?
That's a great question. And when you say we're targeting teachers, not the way students target teachers, we're targeting them to be audience members. I think the fact that you're in front of up to 34 kids at once and you're the sole voice, um, you are automatically forced to figure out how to captivate an audience. You're forced how to engage them, and you're forced to find some sort of way to win them over. Now, some teachers will win them over with like cool activities, others will use humor. A lot of the time, humor is the way to break the ice. So all of those skills transfer directly to comic stage. And the other thing with that is like just by virtue of teaching teenagers or for primary school teachers, like the 6-year-olds out of the mouths of babes, you just hear the funniest stuff. You see the funniest stuff. You listen to their trials and tribulation, and it's like, oh, Jess called me a bitch, and she's invited them. It's all this stuff that doesn't matter. So you gain material while you're at work, and sharing those stories with my friends is why they signed me up to do comedy in the first place. So it actually was this sort of catch-22, like had to be funny, had to have a good sense of humor, because if you don't laugh, you cry, or so using that and then sharing the stories ended up being like this perfect circle. So there's a lot of teachers that go on to do comedy, whether it's open mic or whatever, but I think it just leads you to that pathway because the skills are so transferable.
And I think, because you used the connection word earlier, and I think there is something for the teachers who can embrace this. It does create the catalyst for some connection. I remember Mr. Cowan, my year 7 teacher, a hero. He came in one day, stood near the doorway and said, "Everybody, put your hands in the air." And we all put our hands up. And as we all did that, he flicked the switch and said, "See, many hands make light work."
Yeah, that's good.
You can use that if you want to.
Yeah.
But there is those teachers, they disarm you, they make you more present.
100%. Yeah, it's just more enjoyable if you're having fun while you're learning, like straight away, and also it humanizes you as well. A lot of ineffective teachers I find are the ones that demand respect without building any relationships first.
Yeah.
And yeah, look, a lot of kids will still not respect you even once you've won them over, but using humor and slowly building connections and actually showing genuine interest and actually enjoying your job, even as hard as it may be, the kids can see if you like it, they like being there, and if you hate it, they hate being there. So yeah, it's fun.
Yes, a teacher that my daughter has, she's in year 11, has a tea urn, and kids can make tea, have biscuits, and that's her approach, because she doesn't have a comedy bone in her body yet.
Yeah.
She hasn't met you yet, but that's another way. But it demonstrates how different teachers are. You see them all from the stage. Can you pick the teacher who's going to be the biggest laugher? Is there a type?
Great question. No, but there is a type that are the drama teachers. So you can pick them out. They're the ones that are volunteering and they're the ones that are confident. So
and giving you notes at the end.
Yeah. Always willing to participate. And then the other ones you can normally tell, I don't know what they're called where you live, but we call them education assistants, EAs.
Oh, yeah.
Quite often, you can pick the EAs, and you can pick the primary school versus high school teachers, because the primary school teachers still have energy and hope. So, so they're the ones that come pretty pumped.
Still juggling forms the old-fashioned way? Say hello to Student Forms by Zuno. You can create, collect, and manage all your student forms online in one simple, secure platform. Save time, stay organised, and quick access everything you need, anytime. Visit zuno.com.au and see how Student Forms by Zuno can work for your school.
Okay. This, of course, people working in education are our audience here. They might be curious to know a couple of things. First of all, Melbourne International Comedy Festival next year, 2026. Are you planning to be involved?
Yeah, potentially we'll be looking at doing a show on the March 27 weekend. I just got to figure out the details. But
Okay.
if it's not part of that, I'm always over there. I'm over in at the end of November doing Geelong, Frankston, Altona, Carlton. So
Actually,
that's at the end of this month. So
tell me more about that. How do we find out about that? What's the nature of those shows?
So if you go to Teacher Comedy Night Instagram or Daniel Delby Instagram, there'll be a link to each of those shows because it's a few different ticketing options. So I just get a link tree and I put it in one space. And yeah, the Thursday show in Altona, I didn't think a school night would have a high attendance, but that's got the most so far. We're nearly at 100. We're still a few weeks out, so it's good. Nearly 100 there. And Geelong is on a Friday night. So that's at Geelong West Town Hall, which I haven't done that yet, but the venue looks cool. Carlton's only a little small one, doing like a 5 o'clock show, so teachers can come and watch a show and then have a meal at Lygon Street and all the good restaurants. And then trying a matinee show at Frankston. Last time I came to Frankston, I had 450 teachers there in the Arts Centre, but this is a 1 o'clock show, so I'm going to see if teachers are willing to come and have a bevy and share their stories. So yeah, each show it's great. Like it's always different. Every show I make sure for myself. Obviously, my story is always going to be the same of how I became a teacher, but there's always new games. I get teachers to send in funny work samples, and like, oh my gosh, I've got so many from when I taught, but the ones I get in are just so much fun. Funniest teacher story, so they write their story. There's prizes for that. There's games and music section, and it's a variety show. It's an ADHD in a physical format, so there's something for everyone.
And do you break for recess or lunch?
We do, yeah. We have a brain break, so it's always 2 halves, 45 minutes, and then in the break, the teachers can write their stories down or whatever I'm doing on that night. There will always be an activity that's going to happen for the second half in the break. So yeah, I use some of my teaching pedagogy and allow brain breaks. So it's awesome.
Now, humour in teaching, we've talked about how much you need that.
Yeah.
But you got signed up at sign-up night at Shapero's, I believe it is, at the Brisbane Hotel.
Yeah.
Were you a teacher at this point?
I was, yeah. Yep. So my mates would always laugh at the stories I'd tell them about my students and the work. And I'm Italian as well, so I would always tell stories about my nonna. And they just signed me up. They're like, we've put you down for this comedy night. Go do it. I was like, all right, cool. Yeah, I'll go do it. So I went and watched a couple and figured out what the go was and basically just shared some stories for 5 minutes, and it was awesome. So that led to a few more open mic spots and eventually, $50 spot here or there, then $100 spot. And then it got to a point where something had to give between teaching and I'm also a marriage celebrant. So I had so much work going that my boss, who was my holer, the guy that taught me about CMS, he let me have a year off and held my permanency, which was awesome. So that year off allowed me to go to Edinburgh Fringe Festival, do some mine site comedy and come over to Melbourne and Sydney and do all this kind of cool stuff I didn't get a chance to do. And it went really well. So I had to hand in my teaching resignation, basically. So it was sad because it was nearly 10 and a half years of my life, and I only did permanency for 7, so I missed out on long service leave as well.
Oh, dear. What is the link in your past, and it might be an arm's length from you, to Australia's Got Talent?
So like I went to Australia's Got Talent audition maybe like, I don't know, might have been 4 or 5 years ago maybe, but did good, but they never showed anything. So you just never know. I got through, I got 4 yeses on the Australia's Got Talent, and yeah, they just never showed anything. So yeah, but another ex-teacher got through, Emma Kraus. She's from Perth, and she did pretty well, and she got through the semis, and she's a full-time touring comedian now as well. So using those teacher skills
Mm.
effectively.
So someone else from WA.
Yeah,
I,
yeah, Emma Kraus.
I think the education department needs a lock-in contract over there.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, as I just talked about Mr. Cowan before, that was a gag that he planned, but
Mm.
I believe you like freestyle comedy, which I'm guessing links to your drama background, bit of improv, bit
Yeah.
of yes and what does that mean to you?
So
how do we get our heads around that?
yeah, so it's freestyle rap. So I've got a whole show which is improv rap, which is what I include in the teacher comedy night. That's the music section.
Yeah.
So I'll get a non-teacher and I'll find out information about them and turn it into a love song. So just make it up on the spot. But that all originated from a public school because somebody challenged me to a rap battle and I didn't know what it was. So I thought he was trying to fight me, So yeah, he was like, well, we'll say words that rhyme about each other. And I was like, is that poetry? And he's like, no, man, it's not poetry. It's like aggressive. I was like, all right. So yeah, it was an interesting battle. He rapped about having $1 million cars and girls and stuff. And when it was my turn, I was like, oh no, you don't. I got like a big laugh and started rhyming some stuff from there. And yeah, I utilized that in all my shows. So when I was teaching, actually, I would freestyle at assemblies for the kids or in class. If it was end of class, I'd do a rap about the kids, and it was super engaging because it's being made up like instantly, and it was a really good hook because I'll never forget one of my year sevens goes, "So how do you do that? How do you just make it up?" I said, "Well, you need a big vocabulary." And he goes, "What's that?" I said, "Well, you're already behind the eight ball." So I'm like, the best thing is when we do the shows, it's a good way to tell kids, hey, if you want to learn to rap, you need to know a lot of words. To know a lot of words, you got to read. So stick to your English, read your books. So yeah, I used to just read like a book every 2 days when I was a teenager. Goosebumps.
Wow.
Yeah.
What would you need to know about me being the only male student doing drama at Woodville High with 17 girls to do a freestyle right now? You weren't expecting this.
No, I wasn't. I'll see if I got some little bit of music. I normally ask, I don't know how PG you want to keep it, but I would ask
Relatively.
who your celebrity crush would be. So I could include that. So if you could have a celebrity
And does
crush,
it need to be a proper big celebrity? Well, it would be Taylor Swift at the moment, but
Taylor Swift.
yes.
Cool. And then I would be like, what movie would you watch with Taylor Swift?
I would watch something scary so that we'd have an excuse to grab each other.
Yeah, okay. What's your favorite scary movie?
It was The American Werewolf in London.
Okay, all right. So I'll just do a little small version of it.
Yeah.
So we've got Steve that had 17 girls in drama, and it's watching American Werewolf in London with Taylor Swift.
Mhm.
So I don't know, is that coming through?
Yep. Oh, hang on. No.
I don't know where my mic is. Can you hear that?
No, the mic sometimes cuts it off because it's trying to kill any background noise.
Ah, spilling.
But can you hear it?
I can, yeah.
So
I'll see if I can.
have a go. We can't hear it, but maybe I can
Okay.
put something on in post.
No, I'll be like, yeah, boy.
Okay.
I do R&B, yeah, boy.
Yeah.
So here's a love song that you wouldn't believe. It's for my man with 17 girls. His name is Steve. He's never in there causing no friggin' harm, bruh. He's the only dude and he's taking under drama. Ooh, yeah, he might be flirting. Get it working. He's the dude hiding behind the curtains. So I tell you, yeah, he would just take his chance. He's there every single day, the highest attendance. But now he's having fun, son. When he went to drama, he's like a werewolf in London. So yeah, you see him soon in the drama room. You better press, not a full moon. So now you got my crew, Steve. He was literally feeling 22. So yeah, he's got those feelings lift with those girls. He was acting Taylor Swift. So
That's fantastic.
I just throw in little choruses and stuff. So,
And I love the 22 reference, of course.
yeah,
Beautiful
yeah.
stuff. And of course, Taylor Swift had a song called Hey Stephen.
Oh, nice. I didn't know that, but
Yeah.
that works as well.
Yeah.
I'll just have to shake it off.
She didn't see me in Melbourne recently. I had it on the back of my glittery jacket. It said, I'm Stephen.
Nice.
But never mind. That would have added that to your freestyle song.
Right.
Daniel, that is fantastic because to me, that is peak fluidity for thought. You open, you're looking for connections, you're finding patterns under pressure. And that's comedy as well as freestyling. And that's to anyone to be able to work on that gift would make any social intercourse better, but certainly in the teaching realm.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Well, I've got a friend that actually offers that as workshops. So if anyone's interested over there, he was a TEDx speaker and he's a guy that I co-host my rap show with. So if any teachers like that and they want to get somebody in to teach that to students, he might be a good guest for you. Actually, he's awesome at it.
All right. We'll get details after this. Two last questions. Do you think any teacher can learn ways to inject comedy into their parlance?
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't think so because not everyone's funny, right? So I don't, and it can look. I think you should try because it just shows you're like keen to have a laugh. But not everyone is naturally funny. But what everyone can be is naturally authentic. So you, if you're not naturally funny, that's cool. But it's all I think. I could be wrong, but my theory is that if you're authentic and you can just sort of unwind that little bit from all that stress and not take yourself so seriously when you're building those connections, obviously boundaries are super important. They need to know when I've gone from Mr. D having a laugh to, wait, hang on, no, that's not appropriate. So you need to have those boundaries, but not everyone can be funny, but everyone can be authentic. So I think if you are authentically yourself, you might be the biggest nerd and love chemistry, but the kids will love that you love chemistry because it's authentically you. So I'll never forget my teacher, Mr. Bignell. He would do jokes, like not super funny, but like he'd have jokes and he loved chemistry. So for me, he was a cool teacher because he was so authentic with what he was doing and I could see he enjoyed it, which made me enjoy it. So yeah, to answer your question, I don't think everyone can be funny, but I think it's important to be authentic and let those guard down a bit when you're building relationships at the start of the class. If it's 5 minutes or as the kids are coming in, having a chat, just seeing what they got up to on the weekend and showing true, authentic interest. I think that's just as good as trying to make them laugh.
Fantastic. And worst comes to worst, they can still borrow Mr. Cowan's light switch.
Yeah, that's it.
So
yeah, 100%.
I don't think they would ever fail. And the last one, just on shows, can you just reinforce? There's a couple of things. One, I believe you're coming to Adelaide Fringe.
Yep.
And there's another show called Two White Guys Rapping. What are you bringing to Adelaide Fringe?
So I'm going to bring over Teacher Comedy Night on Sunday the 22nd at the Arca Bar. So that'll be a 1 o'clock show. We did, I think, a 1 or a 2 o'clock last year and had 330 teachers there. So that was great. So would love to see everyone come along to that. The Adelaide shows are awesome. Arca Bar is such a great venue.
It is.
The Two White Guys Rapping we brought over last year. So he's my co-host, the guy I was talking about that does the school stuff. But that's going to be at Perth Fringe. So I don't know if there's any Perth listeners. That's all that improv freestyle comedy that we just did a little love song. So we worked together on that. But I'll be bringing 33 Years Single, I think maybe to Mildura, which is kind of Adelaide, kind of Victoria. So yeah. And then I'll be looking either just to do spots in general on that Saturday, the 21st.
Fantastic. I mean, Mildura is a freestyle kind of town. It just takes on anything, rhymes with anything you need to rhyme with.
Yeah.
And again, just the Carlton, Frankston, Geelong, Altona.
Yeah. Yep. So Thursday the 27th is Altona. Tickets are on Megatix or Daniel Delby or Teacher Comedy Night. There'll be a link in the bio for all of these.
There will be.
And Friday, Geelong at Geelong Wests. Again, tickets are on Megatix or Daniel Delby Instagram or Teacher Comedy Night Instagram. Saturday is at Carlton at 5 o'clock. That's on Event Finder, but you can get the link through Daniel Delby or Teacher Comedy Night Instagram. And then Sunday, 1 o'clock is Frankston. Megatix, links through my Instagrams. Then I'll be hosting Sunday singles at the Comics Lounge at 4 o'clock.
Daniel Delby, thank you for joining me around the school table.
Thank you.
A+.
Nice. Thanks. Thanks very much.